Hey guys, Ron here from Quadrysteria, and what I have for you today is a big announcement of upgrade accessories for the Quadrysteria Crossbones. These micro cams, in conjunction with the trend of electronics being integrated, really eliminates the need for such a high stack. So as you've seen, a lot of people are going low. So if we go with 20 millimeter standoffs, you could still fit two boards on your stack and then have plenty of room for a micro camera. Now, why do that? Well, not just because it looks nice, but as guys have been finding, increasing the airflow to your props really does make a difference. And for the same reason that the stretch configuration, like this here is the Stretch X 5-inch Crossbones, and by moving those forward and backward props away from each other, it gives you more command in the pitch axis, yes, but in addition, it opens up the airflow to the back props, having less turbulence or prop wash, if you will, from the front props. So in the same ways, having a lower deck is going to get your airflow around the edges of the tops of the props, increase the airflow there. So to those goals, what we're doing is introducing a little low rider kit, and it consists of a microcam mount, a multi antenna mount, and 20 millimeter standoffs, and adding the protection for your antenna, the micro FPV camera. It will fit a Luminaire Axe, to be released Video Aerial Systems Minion. It will fit an SMA right down the center. It has screw holes for the TBS Unify. In addition, there's a couple of holes for your antennas to come out. Your RC antenna. So I'm just showing you a zip tie so you can see the holes. You could route your RC antennas out here, but in addition, we've integrated a TBS Crossfire holder on this mount. So that's what makes it kind of a multifaceted. So there we have a low rider or smashed Crossbone Stretch X. And in addition to the custom GoPro mount, the GoPro mount fits right on the screws. So you got 4 screws holding it down. In addition, you have the battery strap securing your GoPro in the mount like that. So if you're wanting to capture some freestyle footage and you're doing a bottom mount battery, GoPro on top. In addition, we have now, and I've never seen anyone offer this. This is a battery sleeve. So this really protects your battery from being ejected. So in the same 4 holes, you can mount it lengthwise. If you're not having a GoPro, you can go crosswise and get a more even distributed weight. You can even go underneath. Same screw holes, lengthwise underneath, GoPro on top, widthwise battery. It'll fit all of those different configurations. So that's really adding a lot of value to this frame. And so we'll be offering, the GoPro's already up there, and we're just now putting the flexible TPU battery holders up today, as well as the slam kits, and all of them in 4 colors: red, green, blue, or orange. And the slam or lowrider kit, it'll include the standoffs, the micro cam mount, and the antenna mounts. And the battery tray and GoPro mount is sold separately. Now, in addition, one of my team pilots has tested. I was kind of skeptical about it. We're calling it the backpack, And I don't have one printed for you right now because we made mods and it takes 10 hours to print it. So it's quite an intense thing. It's really two of these things combined. It gets you a GoPro and a battery sleeve on the top. The GoPro is really crammed in tight. And there's no props in the GoPro footage, but there's a tiny bit of with the FPV camera, you can see the top of the GoPro mount just a tiny bit. And while I was editing this video, the first updated backpack completed, and this is the integrated GoPro mount with a battery sleeve that fits on the top of your Crossbones. And it is quite a tight fit, but it was tested by Aerolink FPV. He has a video posted of it. Really nice footage. And now I want to talk a little bit about flexible TPU. And I know that Quadrysteria was one of the first, and it's been quite a few years now, that we introduced a 3D printed flexible TPU GoPro mounts, and we've just done an upgrade to all those mounts to make them custom fit. For example, this is the one for Crossbones. You can custom fit it right on the center if you're having a bottom battery mount. And just flexible TPU is such a great marriage, if you will, with carbon fiber and mini quads, because this stuff is, I would describe, and there's a lot of flex out there, and TPU is really a general term for many different 3D printer filaments, but the TPU that we use, I would describe it as really leathery, but it's stronger than leather because it's also flexible and it won't tear. So, I mean, I can pull on this stuff and it doesn't tear easily. So it's really perfect for protecting expensive electronics like a GoPro and whatnot. And for the same reason, and that's why you're seeing guys print mounts for their antennas. For the same reason, it helps protect the antenna base. And see here, by using carbon fiber, that stiff area there with a strike really kind of makes your antenna vulnerable. Same with the FPV camera with that carbon fiber there. Attributes of flexible TPU, and TPU is a general term in 3D printing. If you're not real familiar with it, that is a whole class of flexible plastic products. And what we're using, I would describe as kind of in layman's terms, it's flexible like leather, very tough like leather, even tougher than leather, because you can't rip this stuff without a massive amount of force. Once you put it in, more than 1.5 millimeters or 2 millimeters thick, it becomes very strong, and it remains pretty darn light. So it's flexible, tough. It's grippy. That's another attribute of it that is very conducive to what we're doing, because when you're putting screws through it, it holds the screws in. The screws don't fall out. The material doesn't shave away at all like carbon fiber does over time. And that grippiness really helps, not only hold in screws, but hold in other parts. And it also has the vibration reducing properties, I would say. So holding an FPV camera like a micro cam or full size cam even, being mounted on TPU, as long as it's rigid enough, is going to reduce vibrations. That's why also people are printing these little motor bumpers or isolators. It isolates the vibrations from the motors as well, so TPU is good for that. So I'm really a proponent of it. Probably one of the first, going back, it's probably 3 years ago, I started having GoPro mounts printed in flexible TPU. and carrying forward that idea to not the first to do it. I'm carrying that into the whole product line though now. Protect your camera, protect your antenna, protect your GoPro, and protect your battery. That flexibility allows you to put tension on things as well, and for the FPV camera, it isolates the vibrations because it's plastic instead of rigid, fully rigid material. And another thing about this TPU is that it's a little bit rubbery, grippy, and that see how you can put things like screws don't fall out. I mean, that property in itself is just really, really desirable. Yeah, 3D prints aren't as nicely machined, finished looking, but if you spend a lot of time doing it professionally, you can get a pretty darn clean part. And for 3D printed flexible part, that's pretty clean. So let's see here. And this is really going to be, in my opinion, is far superior over a piece of carbon holding your camera because it's isolating the vibration. In addition, it is limiting the impact damage that can happen with that flexibility. So, and the rubberiness of it holds the camera in place, even when you only have two screws like a microcam. And a microcam has so little mass that when it, if you get a strike on it, it's not going to move just because of the mass of it to begin with, but also because this rubbery TPU is going to hold it in place. So the way this works is they bend in like this and go on the standoffs. And it holds that camera with a lot of tension that way, and it's not going to move. So here we go. Let's get the first two on. Okay. So once you get these centered in there, tilted back, I mean, we're talking that's 45, 50 degrees, so plenty of room for that. And you can just see that is so rigid, this is not going to move, the camera is not going to tilt in a crash, and I haven't even tightened up the screws yet. Tighten those screws on that grippy TPU, and that camera's not going anywhere. And the antenna mount has tabs to fit into the original keyways. So if you have a TBS Crossfire, it can come right out the sides in addition to having this. I think if you have Video Aerial Systems Minion or Axe, that would be more ideal, even more compact than a TBS Triumph. But the TBS Triumph Long will clear 5-inch props and fits on there nicely. And I haven't even cranked those screws down, but so with the screws tightened down and those tabs in the keyway, this is very strong indeed. Yet, see, when I do this, I don't worry about messing up my antenna because there's flex in the TPU itself as well. So thanks for watching, guys, and I hope this adds a lot of value to your pleasure out flying.